Alright guys, in today's video we're gonna learn how to edit like Isaac, just like what you saw in the intro video. Let's get started. So Isaac likes to edit with black background, so we're gonna leave it just like that, and we're gonna start with the animated rectangle. Just go to the left side, click on titles and generator sidebar, and we're gonna use something similar to the one that comes. Let me show you guys. Click on elements, drag shapes, and drop it in the timeline. With Final Cut, when you add glow, let's go to the effect section and let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let me search for glow, add glow to it. You're not able to get the effect that we're looking for. So with this, I added glow to exactly the same plugin. That's the shapes that we're gonna use for this tutorial. Link will be down there. You can download and follow along. So I'm just gonna delete this. So this is how it's gonna look like when you download and install. You can find it on the title side. And if you wanna know how to install plugins, I already did a video on that. I'm gonna leave a card up here and also link down there below. You can check on that later. So right there, when you look at it, you can see it comes with the glow around it. Now go to the right side and click on Title Inspector. Then with the shape, let's change that to square. We're gonna use square shape for this. Then with the fill color, we don't need it, so let's take it off. With the outline color, I'm gonna choose yellow for this tutorial, but you can go for what you wanna go for. And then with the drop shadow, I don't need that, so let me take it to 0. So now you can see we have this nice square shape with the glow around it. With the width, I can increase it a bit, so let's go for somewhere 36. Then when you scroll down, you can see with the glow, it's here. If you don't like it, you can take it off. And if you like it, you can take it on. And with the radius, we can reduce it and increase it too. I think with the opacity, we can go down a bit on that. It looks too strong. Now click on Video Inspector. With the X, let's stretch it a bit so we can have that cool rectangle shape. So something like this looks pretty cool. Then let's go back to Title Inspector. I forgot one thing. With the round corners, let's add a little bit of roundness to this. So we can go for somewhere 10 to 15. So we can have this round edges. So now we're going to add some animation to this very rectangle shape. Go to your effects section side down here. Click on transitions. We're going to use a transition for this. Make sure you click on all and let's search for clock. Then we're going to use this clock transition, drag and drop on this. Let's close it for now. And with this transition, we want it to last somewhere 30 frames. So I'm going to take my playhead here, press shift and arrow forward to go 10 frames forward. So I'm going to do it 3 times and then I'm going to stretch it to that very side. So something like this looks pretty cool. Now let's click on the transition and do some changes to it. I want the transition to start from the very top. So I'm just gonna click on this and move it to this very side. Or I can just change it on this very parameter side. Let me just change it to 90 degrees. So when you look at it, it's gonna start and end on that very side. When the feather is so strong for you, you can reduce the feather and have some sharp edges, or you can increase it if you want to. I think with this, I'm just gonna go somewhere 10. Now we can bring in our image. So we go to our library sidebar, click on that. I have some images. These are just thumbnails that I took from YouTube. You can just take screenshots of that. I'm gonna provide you guys with this tool down there below. You can click on that and follow along. So I'm just gonna bring that down below. So I'm gonna lift these shapes from the main timeline. Just select all, Option Command and then press arrow forward. It's gonna lift from the timeline. Then I'm gonna place this, Option Command and then arrow downwards, and it's gonna replace on that very side. Let's take our playhead to somewhere here. Make sure you've selected the image. Then let's reduce the size of it on the right side. Now click on this effect section side, scroll down, click on mask and keying, select shape marks, drag and drop on that very image. Now with the curvature, let's increase it a bit. And also with feather, let's take it to 0. So now we can just increase that. So it's just gonna cut it out with the edges too. So when you look at it, it's cutting the edges nice and clean. I think with the image too, I'm gonna lift it from the main timeline, Option Command and then upwards. So we can get some room to work with. Now I can just stretch it Now we're gonna play one animation to this very image to come in. With this, go to the effects section side, click on that, scroll down. We're gonna use this very plugin, Tab 5A. It is free and very good plugin. I'll leave a link down there below. So I'm just gonna drag and drop on this very image. Let's do some changes to it. Click on the in animation. We want it to float from the bottom. So we're just gonna select float from bottom. The duration, we can change it to somewhere 0.6 seconds. And with the out animation, let's take it to none. We don't want anything to happen to that. If you wanna add more motion blur to it, you can increase it on this very side. So now when I play and show you guys, you can see it comes in slowly and enters right inside that rectangle shape. With the animated lines, we can easily use something from solids under the generator, drag and drop, and use the crop tool to do the keyframes and all that. But then we will not be able to get the glow and also that smooth movement that we're gonna need for this very tutorial. That's one thing I wish Final Cut could introduce, so we can play around the curves and have these smooth animations. So I created one for you guys in motion. I'm gonna show you guys. So this is the one we're gonna use, RJ line animation. Just drag and drop in the timeline. I'll leave a link down there below. You can download and follow along. It is free. So with this, when I play and show you guys, you can see the animation very nice and clean. It moves very slow at the beginning and also slow at the end. So with the blue animated lines, we want it to start coming in somewhere here when the rectangle hits on this very side. So I'm just gonna drag it to that very side. Let's increase the size of it. Then I'm gonna move it on the y-axis down to this very side. Now before we make a duplicate of that, we need to play one trick to this. We want the animation, the blue lines, to go back somewhere here. So I'm just gonna take my player to this very side, trim this side off, select that, press Option and drag to this side. It's gonna make a duplicate for you. And now we're gonna reverse this, but now when you click here, we cannot activate that because Final Cut can only reverse it if it looks like a video file. So this, we're just gonna right click that and create a new compound clip. Let's name it line reverse 1. So now when you click on that and you click on this very top side, we can reverse it by selecting reverse clip. So when I play and show you guys, it's gonna go back just like it came in. If it's too long, we can just trim this side off a little bit so it doesn't stay long on the screen. Now when you play and look at it, it goes and then it goes back. Now we need to do the same thing on this very side. So this, just select this ones, press Option and drag upwards. With those two ones selected, let's make a compound clip of it so we don't get ourselves confused. Select that tool, Option G to create a compound clip. Let's name it. Then with that one selected, go to the right side on y-axis. Let's drag it upwards to this side on the screen. So now all of them are gonna go and return at the same time. Now we need to do two more, but this time around it's gonna come from the top to the bottom. So let's make a duplicate of this down one, press Option and drag upwards. Let's go to somewhere here when it comes in fully. Now with that one selected, go to the right side on rotation. Let's put in somewhere 270. So it's gonna come from the top to the bottom. Now let's reduce the size of it. And then let's play around the position Y and X so we can place it nicely on the screen. So I'm gonna take it here, reduce the size of it a bit more, and then y-axis I'm gonna take it to 0. So now when I play, it's gonna come in nicely too. Now let's do the same thing with this. Let's reverse it, make a duplicate of that by pressing Option and dragging to this side. Make a compound clip of this, Option G, and let's change the name of it. Now we can reverse that clip. Go to this side, select reverse clip. Now let's trim it and make it the same length as the down one. So we're just gonna trim it and match it the same with the down one. Now when you play and look at it, it's gonna go nice and clean. So now with that done, let's select the top ones, Option, drag upwards to make a duplicate and make a compound clip of that, Option G. Let's name it. With that one selected, Let's move the x-axis. Let's take it somewhere here so we can see. Let's move x-axis to this side, so it's going to divide the screen on that very side. Now when you play and look at it, it comes in nice and clean, and then it returns back. Now let's clean this all up. We can select all and make a compound clip of it. Option G and name it all lines. So with the image rotation, when the blue lines goes off screen, we're going to start rotating this image with another images. So let's take our playhead to this very side, make a cut on that very image. Select that, Command B to make a cut. Then we can make a cut on this very one too. Select that, Command B to make a cut. Let's just move it so we can deactivate that and bring it closer to this. And now let me just stretch it so later on we can make a compound clip of it. Before we make a compound clip, let's make a duplicate of these shapes. We're going to use that. Press Option and drag to this very side. Now select this, Option G to create a compound clip. So we're going to name it 1 as the first image. And one thing we should have done, because we make a cut, it's going to have that animation in, and we don't want that. So let's go inside that compound clip, double click that, click on this image, and this time around we're going to delete the tab 5A animation. Let's delete that. Now let's go back to the main timeline. So I'm going to bring in 7 more images. I'm going to start with this, drag and drop in the timeline, stretch it to make it the same length as this very one. Let's disable the down one, select that and press V to disable it. Make a duplicate of this shape, press Option and drag to this very side. Click on this image, let's reduce the size of it. Then go to the effect section side, click on mask and keying, select shape mask, drag and drop on it. With a feather, let's take it to 0. Curvature, let's go up a little bit. Then we can just increase the radius. And now let's use the on-screen control to really dial it in. Now let's make a compound clip of that. Select all, Option G. Let's name it 2. And I'm going to do 6 more times, and I'm going to be fast on this very side. So now I have all the 8 images ready. Let me just select all and disable that. Press V to disable it. Then go to your library side, and I'm going to provide you guys with these grid lines. It's going to act like a guide for you. Just drag and drop below all of them. Place it nicely, stretch it to cover the entire frame. Now let's start with the first one. Select that, press V to enable it, and we're going to start with that because you can see this was the one it ends with, so we want that to be the first image to show. With that selected, go to the right side. Let's change the scale all to somewhere 18%, and then I'm going to use the x-axis and drag it to this very side. So when you look at it, I want it to touch this very circle. Let's click on the second one, press V to enable it. Let's change that to 18%, and let's move that to this very side. Then click on the third one, just like we did, 18%. Let's rotate it to somewhere 90 degrees, and then use the y-axis and drag it to the top. So I'm going to do the same thing with the rest and cover the circle, and I'll be fast on this side. So now when you're done, you're going to have something like this. Click on the grid line. Let's delete that. We don't need that now. Now select all of them. Option G to make a compound clip. Let's name it circle. And now let's just drag it to the top of this side for now. I'm going to show you why. Make sure you select that. And let's increase the size of it. We want it to match exactly like this image because that's the one that's going to rotate. So I'm just going to increase that, use the x-axis to move it to this very side and increase it so it's going to match exactly the position of that very image. So now it's matching it. We can just drag it back to this very side on the timeline. Take your playhead to the starting of it. Go to the right side, make a keyframe on rotation. Now let's go somewhere here in the timeline and make another keyframe on rotation. Now we can just increase it to the negative side. So I think with this I can go for somewhere 450. Let me just put that in, minus 450. You can go depending on the speed that you're looking for and play and see how it looks like. I think I can go for more, so let's take it there and take it to minus 500. With Final Cut, we're still not able to get that smooth movement to it because we want it to start slow and then accelerate to fast movement and then slow down at the end. But since we don't have it in Final Cut with the curves and all that, we're going to play this trick with it. With the starting, the keyframe was on this side. You can see it activated on this side. Let's go somewhere 10 to 12 frames forward. Press shift and arrow forward. It's going to go 10 frames. Then we can make some keyframe on this very side. So let's just drop a keyframe there. And then on that very side, let's just change it to somewhere minus 25. So it's going to act like we slow it down on that side. Let's play and see how it looks like. It looks too fast. So let's change the duration of it. Click on that, Ctrl V to bring the video animation out. Let's stretch this very keyframe away from the first one so we can really slow it down. Let's see how it looks like. So when you look at it carefully, you can see it starts slow and then it goes fast. That's the only trick we can play with it to have that smooth animation, since Final Cut is not having that curve so that we can play with. So there's the ending part. I'm going to stretch that to this very side and I'm going to do the same thing with the ending part too. So I'll take my playhead to this very side, make a keyframe on the ending part. Then when you go to this side, it was 500. So let's go back to this very keyframe. I'm using these arrows to do that. When you look at here, it's moving just like that. And since the last one was 500, when we go back, let's take this one to somewhere minus 470. So it's going to act like it's slowing down on that side. It's not perfect, but at least it's giving us that little bit of smoothness to the starting and ending. Now we're going to play one more trick to this very image. Take your playhead to somewhere here. With that selected, let's make a keyframe on position and also scale. And let's take it closer to this side and make another keyframe on position and scale. We're just going to reduce the size of it and use the x-axis to move it to this very side. Let's reduce it more. So we want it to look something like this. So I think with the x-axis we can just put in 0 and it's going to go in the middle. With the size we can increase it a bit. And now when we play and look at how it looks like. Now let's close this and we're going to play one more trick to this to make it look cool and clean. Go to your left side, click on title and generator sidebar, scroll down. We're going to use motion blur. I'm going to leave a link to one very good one. Link will be down there below. You can use that. Just drag and drop on this very rotation. So when it's rotating, let me take it to the middle and look at it. You can see it having this motion blur to it, and that's going to make it looks really clean. And one thing about motion blur is it is really strong, so always after using it you can just turn it off by pressing V to disable it. Then when you are done with your editing, you can turn it on so it doesn't slow your machine down. Go to the left side, click on title and generator sidebar, scroll down. I'm going to use this very plugin, MCam Rig. It is free from Motion VFX. I'm going to use that. I'll leave a link down there below. So I'm just going to drag and drop on top of it. Let me stretch it and make it the same length as all of them. Let me turn off the motion blur for now. It's slowing my machine down. Now with that one selected, go to the right side, in animation, turn it off, out animation, turn it off. Scroll down, camera angle view, take it to 0. Blur amount, let's take it to 0. We don't need that. Then scroll down. With the background, we don't need that too. So let's take opacity to 0. Now this is the effect that we're going to use. Wiggle on and off, turn it on. Final Cut has this handheld animation to it, but it doesn't give that same look. So we're going to use this very one, wiggle on and off. Let's take it to somewhere 80. And then with the frequency, I think I can go up a bit. And now when I play and show you guys, You can see it's having this floating vibe to the images and makes it look so cool and clean with your animations. So from here, you can add some sound effect and music to it. Now, if you want to know how to edit like pro YouTubers, you can check on this playlist. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.